Hey YouTube, Nurse Marc here. Bad body image is something that's crept into society at an accelerated rate. With the advent of social media and targeted ad campaigns convincing you that you're ugly and that you need them to fix you, bad body image is something that a lot of us experience. Now, I'm not immune to this. From being an obese teenager to actually obese well into my 20s, and then in my late 20s getting cut with a six-pack and being in my peak physical shape, I still have always hated how I looked. A lot of us struggle with bad body image, and it can be very difficult to overcome. So I've come up with a couple personal strategies that I use to try and rid myself of bad body image, and maybe they can work for you too. So the first thing that you can do to tackle bad body image is look at yourself naked. Lord, that was dramatic. I apologize. So there's a psychological theory called the mere exposure theory, and it's really simple. What it states is the more you're exposed to something, or the more frequently you have a stimuli, the more we end up liking it. How many of us, when we get out of the shower, jump and wrap ourselves in a towel immediately because we don't want to look at ourselves naked? Or we avoid mirrors. Me too. By forcing yourself to look at yourself naked, you're exposing yourself to a stimulus that you're not used to. And the mere exposure theory tells us that the more that we do this, the less we'll dislike what we're seeing. The best way to think about this is think about that noise in the background that you hear, and it's really irritating and annoying, and then slowly but surely you stop hearing it until somebody says, hey, what's that background noise? And then you hear it again. That's because your brain will drone out stimuli that it doesn't consider to be a threat. So when you look at yourself and you have a lot of negative thoughts, your brain is going to continually reinforce that. But slowly over time, if you keep exposing yourself to your body, you will hate it less and less. Now that we're doing our best to expose ourselves to our body, we need to talk about how we talk about it. The power of self-talk is absolutely monumental when it comes to repairing bad body image. Self-talk is a two-way street though. It can either help or hinder how we perform. Ever see NFL players talking to themselves before a game, or lifters about to go do a giant lift for like the Olympics and they're just blabbering to themselves under their breath? That's self-talk. If you look at your body and you say, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm useless, and you use these words every time you look at yourself naked, your body's going to create cognitive pathways that every time you see yourself naked, that's what it's going to start thinking. The whole fake it till you make it thing actually has a lot of psychology behind it. So we need to start changing the way that we talk about ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror, whether that be naked or otherwise. By changing the words that we use and the way that we talk about our bodies, we're going to create new positive mental pathways that are going to override those negative pathways that we've been doing for years and years and years. Now, you don't have to specifically look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the handsomest man in the world. I'm the most beautiful woman in existence. Maybe we don't go that dramatic, but simply by changing the words that come out of our mouths from you're ugly, you're gross, you're disgusting, to things like neutral even. I'm not where I want to be, but I accept where I'm at. Or I'm not where I want to be, but I'll get there soon. Going from a negative to a neutral standpoint when you're talking about yourself plays a huge role. Maybe it's not positive, maybe you're not ready to say those positive things about yourselves, but just simply taking the negative out is going to have good mental processes. Lastly, if you can't stop comparing yourself to Insta models, then you need to get off social media. Social media posts are generally people at their best, photoshopped with perfect lighting, they haven't eaten in the morning, they probably water cutted, so it's not an accurate representation of what you can do. So if you look at one of these people and you say, I feel disgusting because I don't look like them, then you gotta get rid of social media. There's a lot of psychology between the negative association of stuff like social media campaigns or social media in general and negative self-body image. It doesn't affect everybody, but it does affect some, and if you're one of those people, get off it. The Cole's notes of all of this is get off of social media until you're ready to look at somebody and not physically compare yourself to them. 3 very simple things, yet incredibly difficult things to do if we're struggling with bad body image issues. Please remember, you're not alone. A lot of us struggle day to day with the way that we look. In fact, if you look at those Insta models and you look at the people that you aspire to be, a lot of them suffer from mental health issues as well. I got friends that are models, I got friends that are competitors, and they say some stuff about themselves that is very reminiscent of the things that I say about myself. Fixing your body image is a long road. It's not going to happen overnight, but let's start taking it one day at a time. That's it, boys and girls. You've got this. Sorry for being topless the whole video. That was the whole purpose of this thing, but we've got to start working on our bad body image somehow, right? Like and subscribe, questions and comments down below, and as always, eat like a bodybuilder and train like a powerlifter.